I'm having a really interesting conversation that I wanted to comment through video because it's a lot easier. And one statement that was made is that I did a really good job raising my kids. Is that really true? Um, Patterns of abuse repeat. We are completely aware of that. And because there's a repeating pattern of abuse in my family history, I needed to understand it. I wanted it ended. I didn't want it repeated within my kids. So I was doing everything that was completely opposite. And it turned out that I repeated the same pattern and didn't even notice it. Why? Because I was taking all of the advice from all of the people that were saying, this is how you end abuse. I followed their advice and it repeated the abuse. So we have to understand something that we don't understand yet. And it's really hard for me to even explain it because it's something you don't understand. I don't understand how to explain something you don't understand yet. Where do you get the words? And say it within 15 minutes. Actually, 30 seconds is our attention span because we're all ADHD. We all make point in 30 seconds or you lose my interest. Now, to understand abuse, you have to understand the cause. No, the only reason anybody is abusive is if they're frustrated, need to control something, need to solve a problem. When you are angry, what do you look like? When somebody hits you and violates you, what do you look like? An angry person. While you're angry, you are pushing that anger back onto the world and you don't know you're doing it. You are the victim and you're responding exactly normal and healthy as what we think healthy and normal is. That's why I'm like, if I went to a doctor and, not feeling really like I love my life, they want to put me on antidepressants and say that I'm suffering from depression. And it's like, wait a minute. How would you act if this happened to you? Would you feel happy or sad about it? And they'd say, well, yeah, I wouldn't be happy. And it's like, okay, am I really dealing with a mental health issue if this is a normal, healthy reaction to an experience you're having? So they can't diagnose me with depression even though I smoke and I know that I'm smoking is not good for me and will end my life. Clearly there's a subconscious need to die due to depression somewhere. So anybody that's angry, anybody that's abusive is dealing with a problem that they can't figure out how to solve. They're like screaming to the world, you just need to do this. And while you're in an angry state, you're not going to make any logic sense whatsoever. That's why you look abusive. You are a victim of something and trying to fix something, but all of your actions are going to be just as abusive, if not worse. Um, I kind of seen that when my parents were beating me every day because of a health issue that the doctors told them your child's lazy, beat them. They went to church every Sunday, Catholic. The Bible says beat your kids. When you see something that's right and your kids aren't doing the right thing, you need to beat and discipline them into doing the right thing. Which is that really true? No, naturally you will do the right thing. Something influences you to do the wrong thing. So it's like, what's out in our universe that's influencing us to do so many wrong things? How come we are reacting from the abuses and being abusive back, and yet we're saying we want world peace? It doesn't make any logic sense. Anger will lead you into total insanity. And anger, you will feel angry if you're in any level of pain. And if somebody just abused you, you're going to feel the pain of it. So, um, did I do a good job raising my kids? Well, my kids overcame problems, challenges. They were like on top of the world if they followed my advice. If they were asking for my opinion and I could see, they would tell me, I would listen to my kids. So if they said they wanted something and weren't experiencing it, just asking them questions of, well, what would it take for you to experience what you want to experience? They would come up with the answer. They'd say, well, I don't know. And it's like, well, in a magical world, if you did know, what would it be? And then they would have the answers. So technically, anytime my kids came to me and allowed me to reflect back their own answers, their life went good. Wasn't about me pushing my opinions on them. It was about me listening to them and giving them their own answers, not my answers. It was like supporting somebody 100% in what it is that they truly wanted. But I noticed that as soon as they started going to school, that the universe had more of an influence over my kids. I didn't want my kids playing with guns. And yet they started shooting, the oldest one started shooting me with a banana. So it was like it was in the TV shows that I watched. It was, I brought the atmosphere that my kids learned what I didn't even want them to learn. Um, so um, that's why I feel like the direction is like you got to talk a little bit more globally, because um, our societies are a little dysfunctional. What we see is not really as true as we think they are. When you see somebody, like for example, this girl, as mother, the torture that your mother put you through is like, I can't imagine how you lived through it, but um, there are good things to feel about it. I mean, you got the best gift. The bigger the torture story, the bigger the gift that you got. And if you can look at it from that perspective, it's not so painful. So, what is it about that experience that you could say was really, really good about it? Understanding it, understanding the gift of it and not the hardship of it. That is the only way that you can transform anything, is don't turn into it and repeat it, but absorb it. Take the lack of love that it needed to experience to create and manifest the way it is, and put nothing but pure love back out into it. And it starts with self. It starts with, like, I use the example that your brain is like the government of your universal body. Each cell is like an individual person. That's saying, if you're a lung cell, it's saying, I need air to breathe, I need air to breathe. But the hands are going there and lighting the cigarette up. And it's like, okay, the lungs and the hands are not really communicating effectively together. You want to think your brain is in charge? No, it's the cells in each one of your body has a mind of its own. It's like you can chop your arm off, but your whole body and experience will still feel like that arm is there. It's like phantom pain. Um, the arm is gone. The pain should be gone, but no, the body will remember what it experienced over and over and over again. So you've got to retrain each cell a completely different memory. So it so much of all of reality starts right at the very quantum level, and the change in your outer world, the government, the money system, the medical system, everything, your parents, your all of the abuse will change the second you change from within. I'm not a master at that yet. I'm still working on that. It's almost like you turn into the abuse when you are trying to prove and make a point. When you want to say, hey, stop, that's abusive, this is the right way. When you're caught up in that conversation of that, you're perpetuating the abuse. You are turning into it because you'll get frustrated. Right away, you'll get frustrated because nobody wants to, the person that is abusive doesn't want to listen to you, doesn't want to, they think you are wrong. No matter what, they think you are wrong. And no matter what, you think you're right, trying to prove them wrong. So you're both two sides of the same fence. So, protesting and fighting and trying to talk and trying to get people to get what it is you're trying to say is like futile. So, um, if you notice, I'm sort of repeating those same patterns where, start a YouTube channel, spread some information. If everybody just kind of knew this and talk and talk and talk, I will get frustrated with myself because nobody's getting it. And the point is that I need to get it. I need to get it from within. And it's more of, you know what? It's so much easier to get people to do what you think is the right thing if they're saying, hey, that's kind of cool. How did you make that happen? When they're asking you how you made something cool happen, then they're kind of listening to whatever advice you've got. So if you want people to live the experience you want to live, you got to live it yourself. So it's not so much that, my goal is to say the right words and influence the right people by the words I come up with. It's got to be by example. Am I living my own example? Am I happy? Am I productive? Am I following my own advice? Am I the peace that I want to see out in my world? Am I the love that I want to see out in the world? So that is the only way that you're going to change the abuse out there. Trying to talk to them is futile. Showing them, being the one that the rest of the universe would say, oh, you're kind of looking abusive because she knows how it's done because she's living a good life. And then the gift of the abuse, how you can feel good about it, is the only way you know what a loving, peaceful world is because of the abuse you went through. If you know what love is not, then you know what love is. So those who have had the worst experiences possible on the planet have more data to say this is what love is not. Sometimes when you're trying to learn about what love is, the best way is to find out what it's not. If you want to fix something that's broken, a mechanical, some of the best, when I worked in a factory and machinery was breaking down, the technician that came, the best of the best that was able to fix a problem the fastest and actually solve a problem, were ones that were saying, okay, well, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, so it must be in this area. And that's how you kind of reverse mechanics something to solve a problem. It's the same with computer programming, that if you're trying to figure out how to do something or solve a problem, if something's not working that you want in your code to work, then you go from, well, is it this, is it this, is it this, and if all of those are no's, then it's got to be that. So those that have suffered the most, having the most data of what love is not, then you know what love is. So when you know what love is, then it's more your job to live in that. If a loving life and a peaceful life means you need to actually feel love and peaceful, are you feeling love and peaceful? Do you think living a loving life means you need to constantly say a bad story about the abuse? Because if you're saying the same, how could she, well, she could because she didn't have a clue of what love was. It's more like you got to have compassion for it. Do they know what love is? Don't go by words, because you can trust that people have the same patterns, that if they're going to give you a flower and say sorry, they don't really know what they're talking about. When somebody's actually sorry, that's the point where they're going, oh my God, I had no idea, I was so wrong, I did this to you, I did that to you, I really need to make some major changes in my life. They're actually talking about something completely different. And when it's completely different, that's when they've kind of recognized that they've been abusive, because they're starting to admit, hey, I was a little wrong. Until they recognize that they've done something wrong, trust they're repeating the same pattern. But you got to start with self and say, do I need to repeat and look at the hardship of what this experience taught me, or now that I know more about love and can influence the world to be more loving, do I choose to live in the pain of it or the solution of it? What is the gift or the torture? Live in the gift. It's more powerful. Peace out.